Hi, my name is Tim Gard. This new webpage is called Living on a New Planet. I'm putting together this webpage in response to some information that I've been looking at over the past 6 months in regard to the grand solar minimum. If you're here, you probably already have some idea about what that's all about. Uh, if you're here and you haven't heard anything about that, uh, you might uh, look on this page and start out doing a little bit of study about the grand solar minimum and what it's all about. Um, One of the things about the internet is there's an awful lot of information on the internet. And if you go out on the internet believing everything that you see and hear, then you're liable to have some data that is not good. So you have to use a little bit of discretion with the things that you pick up. But it is an excellent source for picking up things that are true, information that is true. Um, now there's a definition in regards to the truth. The truth may not always make you comfortable, but that doesn't make it not true. Simply that you don't like it. Um, one of the things that I ran into a long time ago was a video done by Al Gore called "An Inconvenient Truth," and what drew my interest to it was that fact exactly, that just because it's the truth doesn't mean that it's something that's convenient. Many times, truth is inconvenient, but failure to recognize that can be disastrous. So I watched that video by Al Gore, "An Inconvenient Truth," um, and put a lot of that information on the side for later reference. There were a lot of things that he said in it that I was aware of, that I knew was the truth, and there were a lot of things that he had into it that I simply didn't know, and there were some things that he had into it that I questioned right off the bat. Um, it gets down to one of the things that one of my college professors used to say. Uh, it's um, it you may find some information that doesn't sound right, but when you look at it, you find out that it was true. And you may find information that sounds true, and then when you look at it, you find out that it's not. So you have to be able to keep an open mind on things and study them closer until your confidence level is high enough in that information that you would be willing to bet your life on it. A lot of the things that they talk about with the grand solar minimum have some pretty catastrophic things that are going on with it, and um, as you can tell, I have chickens. There's a lot of things that in worst case scenarios that it's better to be prepared for. When I was younger, I was in the United States. I was in a group called the Boy Scouts, and their motto was "Be prepared." And the reasoning behind that, as one of my scoutmasters said, is it's better to be prepared for a problem that doesn't happen than not be prepared for a problem that does happen. And there's a lot of truth in that. There's nothing wrong with learning something that you didn't have a need to know. So one of the most important points of this whole thing that we're doing here is to give you an opportunity to gather information, to get knowledge about things that you might need. And I encourage people to become involved on the web page, introduce yourself. If you have a question, ask the question, and we can all work as a group trying to find the right answers to the questions. There's some speculation about how bad it's going to get, um, and it is speculation. I understand that. But we do have things that are happening on a day-to-day basis that add credence to those speculations. And we have to be aware of those things that are happening. And we have to be willing to ask questions and do investigations to get the data. What I'm hoping that this website will be a place for us to bring any information that we get and then sit down collectively as a group and look at it and then make a decision as to whether it should be put into our you can bet that this is the way it's going to be pile, or if it should just remain as a possibility, or even put over into the this is a complete baloney pile. But you have to keep in mind with that, if there's ever a time where you're going back and pulling something out of the complete baloney pile and saying, yeah, this was true, that your methodology for determining what pile they belong to is suspect. And so you always need to keep your eyes open for improvements. And that's kind of what this thing is all about. I would like to have different sessions put together for different applications. It would be nice to have somebody who was in farming, for example, that could put together information about subsistence farming for a group. I would like to have another one on first aid. First aid is a very important issue, because in the possibility of the collapse of the civilization, there's not going to be a hospital or a doctor's office you can go to. You have a serious injury, you're going to have to depend on people in your group to help you do that. So, I mean, I would think that we would all, at very least, want to take a basic first aid course. But I would also like to see an advanced first aid course available on here at the level of the college courses that they're taking now, so that if somebody wanted to provide that, there might be 21-hour videos going over things, and that you could actually watch the videos and practice that art. Um, uh, my expertise is electronics and energy. Uh, I can show you how to, for example, how to store energy in a form that is not chemical, that will literally last 100 years until you call for it, and will not degrade in that process. Um, we can have discussions about, for me, one of the things that when I was in college for electronics, I was originally a supporter of nuclear energy. Um, we could have a discussion about nuclear energy, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they used to say in the movie. And with any specific topics like that, the more we know, the more likely it is that we're going to survive in adverse conditions. And I believe um, that we are headed towards a major change on the planet Earth right now, based on past history and the signs and symptoms of the things that we're seeing right now, which is the reason for the name that I chose for the site, was Living on a New Planet, because it looks like we may be witnessing some rather severe extinction events here, and it isn't the first time that it's happened on this planet. Uh, we just happen to be the lucky ones who were here when it happened. Um, I would also like to put together a discussion forum here where we could make plans to meet on a regular basis with tea and crumpets, and look for a specific subject that we're going to concentrate on for a period of time, and have a good discussion on it. And of course, how good this is going to be is going to depend on how many of you become involved in it. Every person would be adding to this and would be encouraged to add to it. When you sign up for it, introduce yourself and stay involved in the communications. Ask questions. A professor of mine said the only stupid question was a question that you don't ask. And there's a lot of truth to that. Um, he was also saying that you shouldn't ask questions just to ask a question. Ask questions about things that you don't know about. So I guess with that, I'll close this out as my introduction to the web page, and sign up for the page for notifications and whatnot. Fire me off an email and let me know um, what your name is and what your interest is and what your expertise is, and we'll get you up on the site as a member of the club, and keep you notified about when things are going on, and hopefully you'll be involved in discussion with us. So with that, hope to see you back here, and hope the future for you is a little bit brighter today. Thank you.